Hello and a very warm welcome. Thank you for joining in. Today we are on chapter number 13 from this amazing book, The Power of Intention. And today what we are going to learn is it is my intention to optimize my capacity to heal and be healed. Let me very quickly start sharing the screen so that we can read it together. All right. Chapter number 13. It is my intention to optimize my capacity to heal and be healed. No one can ask another to be healed, but he can let himself to be healed and thus offer the other what he has received. Who can bestow upon another what he does not have? And who can share what he denies himself? सच अ ब्यूटीफुल कोट इजंट इट कि हमारे पास अगर कुछ है नहीं तो हम वो दे भी नहीं सकते और हम अगर किसी चीज को खुद ही डिनाई कर रहे हैं तो भी हम उसको शेयर नहीं कर सकते इजंट दैट ट्रू दिस इज अ This quote has been taken from the book The Course in Miracles. Every single person on the planet has within them the potential to be a healer. In order to make conscious contact with your inherent healing powers, you must first make the decision to be healed yourself. As A Course of Miracles reminds us, those who are healed become the instruments of healing, and the only way to heal is to be healed. Thus, there is a twofold advantage in this intention to be healed. Once you have accepted your power to heal yourself and optimize your health, you become someone who is capable of healing others as well. How many of you would believe and understand the fact that आपने जिस problem से recover किया होता है, the problem that you have walked through is something that you can guide others on as well? That is exactly how this one works as well. If you get healed yourself, you can heal others as well because you have walked the journey. One of the many fascinating observations that David Hawkins made in his book Power versus Force is the relationship between a person's calibrated level of energy and their capacity to heal. People who calibrate above 600 is on his map of consciousness scale, which is an exceptionally high energy score indicating illumination and supreme enlightenment, radiated healing energy. Disease, as we know it, can't exist in the presence of such high spiritual energy. This explains the miraculous healing powers of the Jesus of Nazareth, Saint Francis of Assisi, and Ramana Maharishi. Their exceptionally high energy is sufficient to counterbalance disease. As you read this, keep in mind that you too emanated from the highest spiritual loving energy field of intention, and you have within you this capacity. In order to fulfill the intention of this chapter, you must, as Gandhi states in the quotation above, be the change that you wish to see in others. You must focus on healing yourself so you will have this healing ability to offer others. Hmm. You must focus on healing yourself so you will have this healing ability to offer others. If you reach a level of blissful illumination where you are reconnected to source and are harmonized vibrationally, you will begin to radiate the energy that converts disease to health. In St. Francis' powerful prayer, he asks of his source, where there is injury, pardon, meaning allow me to be the person who gives others healing energy. All right. समझ में आया ये? Allow me to be a person who gives others healing energy. He asks God or the power of intention to allow me as a person to be a person who gives others healing energy. This principle has been repeated throughout the pages of this book. Bring higher spiritual energy to the presence of lower disease energy, and it may only nullify the lower energy, but converts it to healthy spiritual energy. तो हमने इस बुक में बार बार कई बार इनफैक्ट पढ़ लिया कि the whenever a higher energy comes in front of the lower energy, this lower energy is going to go down, right? Because this is going to take over. And it says that not only does that, it nullifies it. Not only it nullifies the lower energy, but it converts it to healthy spiritual energy as well. In the field of energy medicines, where these principles are being applied, tumors are bombarded with exceptionally higher laser energy that dissolves and converts them to healthy tissues. Energy medicine is the discipline of the future and relies on the ancient spiritual practices of being the change or healing others by first healing ourselves. So, how do we become the healing? Reconnect to the disease free, loving perfection from which you came in the succinct statement of succinct statement of what the self healing process requires. The universal mind of intention knows precisely what you need in order to optimize your health. What you must do is notice your thoughts and behaviors, which are creating resistance and interfering with healing, which is to flow, which is the flow of intentional energy. Recognizing your resistance is something that is entirely up to you. You must dedicate yourself to this awareness so that you can make a shift to pure healing intention. While I was on a treadmill at the gym yesterday, I talked to a gentleman for 5 minutes. And in that brief span of time, he regaled me with a laundry list of ailments, surgeries, heart procedures, diseases, and projected joint replacements, all in 5 minutes. This was this calling card. Those thoughts and recapitulations of the bodily afflictions are resistances to healing energy that's available. As I talked to the complaining man on the treadmill, I attempted to get him to shift even momentarily away from his resistance to receive healing energy. But he was absolutely determined to wallow in his disabilities, wearing them as badge of honor, arguing vehemently for his limitations. He seemed to cherish and cling to his self-loathing for his deteriorating body. I attempted to surround him with light and sent him a silent blessing, congratulating him for doing a treadmill exercise as I moved on to my own workout. But I was struck by how much of this man's inner focus was on disorder, disharmony, and disease as he related to his own body. And many of us keep on doing that. Many of us as women, we love to stay in our victim zone. Many of us, we stay in the hurt zone because we have started finding a secondary pleasure in there. In the morning, we were reading this book, Awaken the Giant Within, and wherein we were discussing how there is a secondary source. If you know, even if you know that chocolate is not good for you, the secondary source, the subconscious mind is loving to do it, because each time you're eating, you are getting attention of the people telling you why you should not be having chocolates. Just imagine. तो हमारा दिमाग इस हिसाब से ही काम करता है. Reading about the role of thoughts in reports of spontaneous recovery from irreversible and incurable diseases is fascinating. Dr. Hawkins, writing in Power versus Force, offers us this wisdom. In every studied case of recovery from hopeless and untreatable disease, there has been a major shift in consciousness so that the attractor patterns that resulted in pathologic process no longer dominated. Every case, imagine that. And look at that term attractor pattern. We attract into our lives through our level of consciousness and we can change what we attract. This is very powerful idea and the basis for accessing the power of intention not only is healing but in every area where we have desires, aspirations, individual intentions. Hawkins goes on to say that in spontaneous recovery, there is frequently a marked increase in the capacity to love and the awareness of the importance of love as healing factor. Your intention in this chapter is facilitated by looking at the larger objective of returning to your source and vibrating more in harmony with the energy of the power of intention. That source is never focused on what's wrong, what's missing, and what's sickly. True healing takes you back to the source. Anything short of this connection is a temporary fix. When you clean up the connecting links to your source, attractive patterns will, sorry, there is some internet problem. I think it is going very slow. So I'll read that again. When you clean up the connecting links of the source, attractive patterns of energy are drawn to you. If you don't believe that this is possible, then you have created resistance to your intention to heal and be healed. If you believe that it is possible, but not for you, then you have more resistance. If you believe you are being punished by the absence of health, that's also a resistance. These inner thoughts about your ability to be healed play a dominant role in your physical experience. Becoming a healer by healing oneself involves another one of those imaginary somersaults into the inconceivable, wherein you land upright and balanced in your thoughts, face to face with your source. You realize, perhaps for the first time, that you and your source are one when you let go of the ego mind, which has convinced you that you are separate from the power of intention. Healing others by healing yourself. In Len McTaggart's book, The Field, which I have mentioned previously, the author has taken the time and trouble to report the hard scientific research conducted around the world in past 20 years regarding this field I'm calling intention. In a chapter that is relevant here called The Healing Field, McTaggart describes a number of research studies. Here are just 5 of the intriguing conclusions that researchers have come to concerning intention and healing. I present these to you to stimulate an awareness of your potential of healing the physical body you have opted for in this lifetime, as well as the corollary capacity to offer healing to others. I haven't reiterated the obvious needs for a healthy diet and a sensible exercise routine, which I'm assuming you're aware of and practicing. Bookstores now have entire section of healthy alternatives for this purpose. All right, so 5 conclusions about healings from the world of hard research. Number 1, healing through intention is available to ordinary people, and healers may be more experienced, or naturally talented in tapping into their field. There is a physical evidence that those who are capable of healing through intention have a greater coherence and a greater ability to marshal quantum energy and transfer it to those in need of healing. I interpret this scientific evidence to mean that deciding to focus energy, life energy, on being in coherence with the power of intention gives you the capacity to heal yourself and others. This means essentially abandoning the fear that permeates your consciousness. And it also means recognizing a fear based energy promoted by much of the healthcare industry. The field of intention has no fear in it. Any disease process is evidence that something is amiss. Any fear associated with the disease process is further evidence that something is amiss in the working of the mind. Health and peace are the natural states when that which prevents them is removed. Research shows that healing through intention, which is actually healing through connecting to the field of intention, is possible for everyone. This is such a beautiful point, isn't it? जिसको पता है कि अपने आप को पावर ऑफ इंटेंशन के साथ कैसे अटैच करके रखना है, they will not face much of the diseases. Any disease coming your way, any ailments, any problems in your life that is due regarding your health issues is coming in your life when you are away from this power, disconnected to this power of intention. Point number 2. Most authentic healers claim to have put out their intention and then stepped back and surrendered to some other kind of healing force, as though they were opening a door and allowing something greater in. अब आपको अगर बच्चा रोता जा रहा रोता जा रहा है, उसका ब्रदर और सिस्टर कैन just make them feel understand. They can just make them calm, and they will quickly go and tell their parents that this person, this your brother or your sister or somebody, XYZ, is not feeling well. And then they surrender. They know that the elder one is going to take care of the younger one. Likewise, when the healers come in connection with you, they open your portals to healing, and then they represent you to the higher forces, to the power of intention, so that you be healed through them. The most effective healers ask for assistance from the universal source, knowing that their job is to be uplifting and allow the source of healing to flow. Healers know that the body is the hero and the life force itself is what does the healing. By removing ego and allowing that force to flow freely, healing is facilitated. Medically trained professionals often do the opposite of allowing and uplifting. They frequently convey the message that the medicine does the healing and communicate disbelief in anything other than their prescribed procedures. Patients often feel anything but uplifted and hopeful, and diagnosis and prognosis are usually fear-based and excessively pessimistic to avoid legal proceedings. Tell them the worst and hope for the best is often the medical operating philosophy. I still remember when the COVID had hit in 2020, 2021. After a while, the vaccination had come, and there was a big hype about it that that get yourself vaccinated or else COVID is going to hit you. COVID is going to hit you. And my husband was one of those people who would say, "Nahi, COVID ka injection nahi lagwana hai. You are fine. If God is willing to take you away, He will in any case take you away," and this and that. And we used to, feel कि अरे बाबा इनको हमारी तो चिंता ही नहीं है, but he was 100% surrendered to the higher force of energy. And I still remember my brother-in-law and my husband got hit by COVID, but they were all fine. Only because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law had to travel abroad, they had to get the vaccination done. Otherwise, none of us got the vaccination done, and we all were fine throughout COVID. We all actually surrendered to the higher powers that, okay, whatever is written for us, let it be. But does that mean you become fool? You just leave it? I don't know. Some people actually suggested that this is a very foolish act when the government is saying, when the doctors are saying कि ये कर लो कर लो कर लो, तो अभी भी क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? कुछ हो जाएगा, कुछ हो जाएगा. I don't know. I also believe from the core of my heart that whatever breaths are written for me to be taken on this earth, I will not go away without taking them. So that is a kind of surrender, I would say. But in any case, the point is that medical procedures are normally done by bringing fear in the patient's heart and soul. कि अगर दवाई नहीं खाओगे तो ठीक नहीं होगे. And it is a very big disbelief as per this book. The ability to heal yourself seems to be available to those who have an intuitive knowing about the power of the spirit. The healing inner speech has to do with relaxing, removing thoughts of resistance, and allowing the spirit of light and love to flow. The powerful healer from the island of Fiji once told me about the efficacy of the native healer. He said, when a knowing confronts a belief in a disease process, the knowing will always triumph. The knowing is faith in the power of intention. A knowing also involves an awareness of always being connected to the source. And finally, a knowing means getting one's ego out of the way and surrendering to the omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient source, the power of intention, which is the source of all, including all healings. It is like, the healers come, they clean the way for the universal powers, for the higher powers to come and do their work. All right, research number 3 says it didn't seem to matter what method was used, as long as the healer held an intention for the patient to heal. कौन सा मेथड यूज कर रहे हैं? होपनोपोनो कर रहे हैं, रेकी कर रहे हैं, मेडिटेशन कर रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं, डज नॉट मैटर, एज लॉन्ग एज जो भी हीलर है उनकी इंटेंशन है टू open the portals for the patient to be healed. Healers relied upon profoundly different techniques, including the Christian image, the Kabbalist energy pattern, a Native American spirit that taught them the statue of saints, and the incantations and chants to a healing spirit. As long as the healer held firm to an intention and had a knowing beyond any and all doubts that he could touch the patient with the spirit of intention, the he validations. It is crucial for you to hold an absolute intention for yourself to heal, regardless of what goes on around you and what others might offer you in the way of discouragements or getting real. Your intention is strong because it is not ego's intention, but a matchup with the universal source. It's God's realization at work in your approach to healing and being healed. As an infinite being, you know that your own death and the death of everyone else are in the energy field from which you emanated. Just as all your physical characteristics were determined by that future pull, so too is your death. So let go of fear of your death and decide to hold the same intention that intended you here from the world. From the world of formlessness. You came from a state of well-being and you intend to be there in your mind, regardless of what transpires in and around your body. Hold that intention for yourself until you leave this body and hold that same invisible intention for others. This is the only quality that all healers shared. I encourage you to emphasize it to right here, right now, and don't let anyone or any prognosis deter you from it. Okay, so I think it was very clear in this stanza that हमारे को पता है कि हमारी death, just like our birth was decided, so is our death. जब होनी होगी हो ही जाएगी. And in the last section also I shared with you that how not taking medicine was also one of the ways of surrendering myself or my family towards the decision of whatever the Almighty has to take, all right, or the higher frequencies have to take. Hi Komal, thank you for joining in. Point number 4 shares, research suggests that intention on its own heals, but the healing is a collective memory of a healing spirit, which can be gathered as a medicinal force. Healing itself may in fact be a force that is available to all of humankind. It is a universal mind of intention. Further research suggests that individuals and groups of individuals can gather this collective memory and apply it to themselves and to those who suffer with epidemic diseases as well. Since you are all connected to intention, we all share the same life force and we all emanated from the same universal mind of God. It's not so far-fetched to assume that by tapping into this energy field, we can gather healing energy and spread it to all who enter our enlightened spheres. This would explain the enormous collective healing powers of saints and make the case for each of us holding the intention to eradicate such things as AIDS, smallpox, worldwide influenzas, and even the cancer epidemic we live with today. It is said that जब भी हम लोग अपनी higher self के साथ रहते हैं, in fact, healers just before you came in, Komal, we have been discussing in this chapter how healers do the work of opening the portals of you healing, and then they surrender it to the God, to the heavenly bodies, to the divine powers to heal you. And since they are too intuitive and they are themselves in alignment with that power of intention, it is so much easier for them. Let's see what you have in the chat. तो इसके अंदर वो बता रहा है कि मैंने इसमें ये भी शेयर किया था कि हाउ व्हेन द पेंडेमिक हैड हिट, व्हेन द क्या था, COVID-19 हैड हिट, माय हस्बैंड वाज रिलक्टेंट, आई वुड से रिलक्टेंट थे कि उनको इतना फेथ था दैट नहीं नहीं किसी को इंजेक्शन नहीं लगवाना है, किसी को इंजेक्शन नहीं लगवाना है. एंड वी डिसाइडेड दैट ठीक है भाई छोड़ देते हैं, बिकॉज ही हैड ओनली वन थिंग टू से दैट जिसने हमारे को भेजा है उसको पता है कि हमारे को वापस भी कब लेना है, जितनी सांसें लेनी है लेनी है. बीच सड़क में खड़े होके भी किसी का ट्रक से एक्सीडेंट हो जाता तो वो मर जाता है. कोविड क्या चीज है, कोविड उसने देखा भी नहीं होगा. एंड वी रिलाइड ऑन दैट फोर्स कि हाँ ठीक है, अवर as much as our birth is decided, our death is also decided. So let it be. And this was also shared in this book, in the earlier stanza, wherein they were sharing.
You all did not get COVID?
No.
No?
No, my brother-in-law and my husband got COVID, but they were healed very quickly as well.
They were healed, okay. Right, great.
So there was no loss in the family because of COVID.
But
Yes,
मतलब
that
मुझे
there was
लगा
a
अभी
very
आप बोलो
strong.
कि वो तो ट्रस्ट कर रहे थे, बट सम मतलब समटाइम्स एवरीबडी हु विल फियर, सपोज
Hmm.
समबडी हु इज ऑफ द मेड,
Fear is the resistance that we create. We fear, तो डॉक्टर्स जो हैं वो fears create करते हैं, इसीलिए
if
हमारे
you
को
had
मेडिसिन पे
different
मेडिसिन
opinion,
देते हैं.
suppose if you had different opinion than your husband, and
Hmm.
then that wife will try to prove कि देखा I was saying you to get that medicine and all those COVID injections. If she is having different opinion, then they will try,
Hmm.
see I was saying you already. So that's why I was interested to hear this story, that you agreed and it did not happen. So
Hmm.
great thing, because sometimes if अगर हुआ होता, I just kept my point ना, कि then other person will always try कि see I was saying you to take, कि God तो है but आपको medical science को believe करना है and all that. Those people will say, those who will be so into this,
Yes.
है ना, they have
Absolutely.
this. Like
When
my
the
bhabhi.
entire world was running and getting into the queues of getting themselves the vaccinations done,
Yeah.
we were sitting relaxing at home.
We
ठीक
had
है, it's
COVID
okay.
because my husband was opposite of your husband. He was fearing excessive. So because थोड़ा सा ही fear, फिर उसको हुआ, फिर मॉम को भी हो गया, क्योंकि मॉम के अंदर भी उन्होंने डाल दिया वही सब कि
So
मॉम
the
बी
thing is,
केयरफुल.
whenever there is a fear of anything, that
हम्म.
is, first of all, doubting the power of intention.
Yeah. So, and
And
I felt my husband is mostly relying on anxiety and fear, which I'm able to see from some time. That's why the issues are happening in his atmosphere. Because in
absolutely.
COVID, from COVID itself, I could see that energy rising in him about fearing. और कुछ families में इतना होता था कि they were contradictory, कि एक ब्रदर बोलेगा कि कोई बात नहीं और दूसरा ब्रदर बोलेगा कि अरे मतलब डोंट टच ऑब्जेक्ट्स एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड सो मच was the differences were happening.
Komal, my mother was telling me, when you go to give food to your husband, put the entire kit and then go and give him. Give him the medicines, put the medicines there, and he will have it himself.
Yeah.
Him,
Yes.
but I never wore any gloves. I never wore any mask. I wore no entire kit or anything. I just
आगे if
went.
you're going near him you will have to be, why you don't go near him. ये मेरा भी fear
वो
था
तो
जब
टाइम ही ऐसा था.
मेरे
हाँ, वो तो
हस्बैंड को
टाइम
हुआ,
ही ऐसा था ना.
मेरे हस्बैंड को हुआ तो मैं भी थी, भाई ही इज कमिंग नियर टू मी. मेरे हस्बैंड को नहीं
हम्म.
ध्यान था बट मेरे अंदर वो थॉट है तो मुझे भी हो गया. थॉट से हुआ, चाहे
हम्म.
मेडिकल साइंस इफ वी विल से, तो वो हुआ ना. सो इट वाज
Exactly.
लाइक दिस. आई आल्सो वाज लाइक कांट ही सी, मतलब ही इज हैविंग कोविड, व्हाई ही इज कमिंग नियर मी. आई वाज गेटिंग सच थॉट्स, नॉट द थॉट्स कि नहीं होता कोमल, कुछ नहीं होता,
हम्म.
ऐसा नहीं हो रहा था. तो
एंड आई वाज टेलिंग माय मॉम कि कुछ नहीं होता है, सब ऐसे ही है,
हाँ,
छोड़ दो.
वही
ही
है
वाज
ना.
लाइक ओके. एंड आई यूज्ड टू टेल हर, नहीं नहीं, मैंने तो किट पहनी थी, मैंने तो ग्लव्स पहने थे, एवरीथिंग वाज इन, कुछ नहीं होता, मुझे कुछ नहीं होता. एंड आई हैव हैड दिस फेथ कि मुझे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है
ओके.
सिंस एवर. मेरे बच्चे बीमार हो जाए, कुछ हो जाए, एंड अगर गलती से मेरे को कभी फीवर हो जाए, तो मेरे
हम्म.
घर वाले सारे ऐसे देख रहे होते, ये कैसे हो गया. मतलब
इसको.
इट हैज बीन 20 years ऑफ माई मैरिज, पता नहीं एक आध बार कभी गलती से हो गया होगा तो हुआ होगा, एंड टच वुड, बिकॉज आई ट्रस्ट दिस, कि मुझे नहीं कुछ हो सकता.
कि
नॉट
फीवर
फॉर
नहीं
नाउ.
होगा, एनीथिंग, मतलब यू आर गिविंग दैट अफर्मेशन कि मुझे कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा.
मेरे को हुआ है, मेरे को अर्थराइटिस है.
हाँ,
And
वही आपने ग्रुप में डाला
I
ना.
yes, and I remember that one of these days, my dad was telling my husband that I don't know, he was talking that कुछ ना कुछ तो हुआ है, उसके emotions के साथ trigger है, because of which he has arthritis. And then I
या
was like, हाँ, ये अच्छी story है. Every time, I feel boundaries and everything, I'll think about it कि because of my emotions, because he has not taken care of my emotions, because of which I have arthritis. And every time I think of it, I do get the attack of it as well.
मतलब यू वर ऑल्सो थिंकिंग कि सम ही इज नॉट, मतलब यू वर जस्ट playing with that, or you were really thinking that somebody is not taking care of my emotion, that's why I got.
हाँ हाँ. जब जब आप फेथ करोगे किसी चीज में, आपको उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस बियर करना पड़ेगा. उसको आपको उसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस हो या द अदर वे राउंड वो हो,
एंड नीज
आपको.
सपोर्ट भी होते हैं ना, नीज मीन सपोर्ट. So,
यस.
support word, that book. heal your
So
life.
I normally do not have it always in the knees. It is sometimes in the knees, sometimes it goes to the shoulders. It keeps on revolving in my body.
Boldness is also responsibility, where you are taking some responsibility and you don't know, like you are feeling what type of responsibility I'm taking, how much to take, how much not to take. This thing, like
Yes.
when I had this last month, so my teacher was like, uh, just think what responsibility you are not ready to take, and it was there. It went away after days, but it was there for a lot of
Hmm.
stiffness. Suddenly, when I met my husband, next day it started. Next day it
Hmm.
started. See the मतलब we cannot say it's fake कि this thing. अगले दिन से हो गया, and I was like क्या हुआ, मतलब ये कैसे हो गया, and वो पूरा sore stiff यहाँ पर, and then yeah, then teacher was, it went away because I was under Reiki and everything. Teachers are always blessing, but it had to go. मुझे भी ये बहुत strong belief है कि I am protected. आपकी तरह ना इमोशनली जो मर्जी मेरे साथ हो रहा है लाइफ में या होता है, वो पता नहीं कहाँ से ट्रैक किया, बट आई एम ऑल्सो इन हेल्थ, आई हैव ऑल्सो गिवन कमांड दैट आई एम ब्लेस्ड। मतलब मैंने ये बहुत सारे लोग करते होंगे ना, सो इवन आई हैव केप्ट दिस कि नहीं आई एम सेफ। कोई और भी बोल दे ना तो
मैं तो मेरे बच्चों को हमेशा ही बोलती हूँ। मेरे बच्चों को कभी कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम कभी भी बचपन में भी होती थी ना, आई यूज टू टेक देम इन माय लैप एंड लव देम एंड केयरस देम एंड डू दिस एंड दैट। तो दे यूज टू फील कि आपको भी हो जाएगा, आप दूर हो जाओ, एंड आई यूज टू ऑलवेज टेल देम मम्मियों को कभी कुछ नहीं होता है,
मम्मियों को नहीं होता।
एंड आई एम योर मदर
वंडरफुल
सो आई
थिंग्स।
विल बी ऑलवेज फाइन।
या।
चलो आगे पढ़ते हैं। When
ब्लेसिंग्स।
illness is viewed in isolation, when illness is viewed in isolation, connected from the collective thought that the AIDS virus seems to feed on fear, the kind of fear that is experienced when a person is shunned or isolated from the community. Studies of heart patients reveal that those who felt isolated from their family, their community, and especially their spirituality were more susceptible to the disease. Studies of longevity show that those who live longer have a strong spiritual belief and a sense of belonging to a community. The capacity to heal collectively is one of the powerful. चलो आगे ज्यादा आगे चलो। Benefits that's available when you raise your energy level and connect to the phases of intention. इसका बेसिक मतलब यही है कि whenever you are away from the power of intention, whenever you are away from your spiritual practices, whenever you are away from your connection with the higher frequency or higher sources of energy, you will encounter problems in your life. सार इस पूरी बुक का ये है। आपके रिलेशनशिप्स में इशू है, आपके हेल्थ में इशू है, just know that you are moving away from that source. It is not always that I am away from that source. Maybe if it is a relationship problem, maybe my spouse is away from the power, that power of intention, because of which he is bringing in so many resistances. There might be our fears, जहां जहां हमारे को जिंदगी में fear आ रहा है, doubt आ रहा है, resistances आ रही हैं, no, that you are not trusting the process of life, and not trusting the process of life means you are away from the power of intention. All right, point number 5. The most important treatment any healer can offer is hope for the health and well-being of those who suffer disease or trauma. Healers do a self analysis for what's present in their consciousness before they focus on someone in need of healing. The key word here is hope. The presence of hope conveyed boils down to faith. होप वहीं पे होती है ना जहां पे फेथ होता है, एंड वरी जो होता है ना, दैट इज ब्रीच ऑफ फेथ. When you worry about something, that also shows that you do not have faith.
राइट।
I would also call it knowing. A knowing that connection to someone's source is a connection to the source of all healing. When we live this way, we always see hope. We know that miracles are always a possibility. Staying in that mindset, fear and doubt are banished from the landscape. Have you ever seen some people are always joyful and dancing and ही घर में बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है पर वो आंटी बड़ा मुस्कुरा के हंस के खिलखिला रही है. Why? You will see उन आंटी को हर रोज सुबह मंदिर गुरुद्वारे जरूर जा रही होगी मत्था टेकने के लिए अपनी थाली सजा के. Because there is that trust. If you give up hope, you change the energy level of your life to vibrate at fear and doubt levels. Yet, we know that all creating source of intention knows no fear or doubts. My favorite quote by Michelangelo is on the value of hope. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but it is too low and we reach it. I'll repeat that. The greater danger for most of us is not our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Just imagine the intention of healers and the hopes they have for themselves and others may be even more important than the medicine being offered. The simple thought of dislike towards another impedes the potential for healing. Lack of faith in the power of spirit to heal plays a deleterious role in the healing process. Any low energy thoughts you have undermine your ability to heal yourself. All five of these research backed conclusions lead us to an awareness of the importance of shifting our focus and connecting to all healing fields of intention and harmonizing with it. इसके आगे का हम कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे. And I would request you, if you wish to, join the session, please join in time so that you can have full advantage of, being in the session. All right. Any questions? Anything that you want to share, Komal, from this?
No, this is new and it's good to read this, have a different perspective. That intentions, power of intention is stronger, and faith is important. We forget the source and faith, and we get into worry, stress, and all the ills. Then other ills also combine when we are in worry. Then other ills are also eating our brain and eating our mind, energy, everything, focus, and we feel like we are stuck. We have to go. We don't know how to live. So better is get back to forget this vicious cycle and again come back to humanity, love, source. So it's not easy
Go
because
back to the source. हम
hmm,
पैदा हुए थे तब हम उस intention के साथ थे. Towards the wheel of life, we forgot that source and we thought that we are very smart to take care of our lives. And towards the end, we'll go back to the source. अभी बताओ तो उस सोर्स को छोड़ने का फायदा क्या हुआ? साथ में लेके चलते तो it would have been so much better ना. So when we know that source and that power of intention is with us at all times, I think our reactions, our responses, our actions, our
yeah.
tonality, our communication, everything shifts.
But I'll share, maybe I'm not too sure if I should be sharing here or after this meeting, but I'll share some instances which will bring more clarity to me. I don't know about you, that when I question how it brings clarity to you, that you would respond on that. So we can record that separately, but I am having some doubts in mind. I'll share after this lesson gets
All
over.
right. चलो ठीक है. Take good care of yourself. See you tomorrow at 10 p.m. And till then, take care of yourself and bye bye. Good night.